Hi all, welcome to my first Cosplay Sewing 101 tutorial. In this two-part video, I will introduce you to sewing machines in general and help you in your efforts to get one of your very own. If you already have a sewing machine, great. Then this video is just going to show you some of the features that I tend to use in my sewing tutorials. Let's get started.
Sewing machines come in all shapes and sizes and with lots of built-in features. It can be kind of intimidating to figure out what's going to be the best machine for your needs. To help you narrow down your choices, let me give you a quick list of things to avoid. The first thing to avoid is a machine that's small or meant for patchwork, like this machine. Although very economical and it certainly can do a straight stitch, you are going to need a little bit more and it's going to wear out very quickly, so don't even bother. The second thing you'll want to avoid is buying your machine online from Amazon or eBay, especially for your first machine. There is no replacement for getting some one-on-one attention with someone who knows the machine well, who can show you its features, kind of go over how it works, and give you a chance to test drive it. Now this is just a little more of a pro tip, if it's your first machine, I lean more towards the computerized or digital machines more so than a mechanical if you can possibly get one. It's just a lower barrier of entry, it does a lot of things a little bit more cleanly and precisely than a mechanical machine would. However, if you can't avoid getting a mechanical machine, you'll be fine. Just you'll have to understand there's some parts of sewing that you'll have to do manually that computerized machines do automatically now. Alright, and that's my quick list of things to avoid when shopping for your first machine or looking for a sewing machine. Another pro tip too is you don't have to worry about how many stitches there are. I tend to just use 4. Alright, now let me introduce you to some of the basic parts of the sewing machine, and this is going to be true whether the machine is mechanical or modern or computerized or future visioned. Alright? We're going to look first here at what I like to call the magic area. This is where you're going to live most of the time when you're sewing. This area here is the needle that goes up and down, and below it you have the bobbin area. Mine is a nice clear window which you can pull up, and you can see this little tiny spool known as the bobbin sits down in here. Now this is just a drop load bobbin thing, so it's super easy to use. Next thing to notice here is the presser foot. This is not to be confused with the thing you press with your foot to make the machine go. Underneath the presser foot you'll have this rough metal file thing. These are called the feed dogs. What these do is it pulls the fabric along as the needle's going up and down, and the presser foot kind of holds things steady, but your hands are actually there to hold things steady a bit too and just guide things along because it's going to move. It's not going to be perfectly accurate. You can't just let it go at times, but you don't want to push into the machine because that can misalign stitches and cause some tension problems too with the thread. You're just there to drive. It's nice and easy. And all sewing machines are going to have an area that kind of looks like this. I can show you too, I'll compare. This was my modern Elna, and here's my older Elna machine. This was made in the 80s. You'll see here, it still has a needle shaft that goes up and down. I don't have a needle in there at the moment. It has a presser foot. You can see the feed dogs here. The bobbin area is back here though, which is a little funny, and it doesn't have a clear window, which is different than the modern machine, but it still works basically the same. You drop the bobbin in, wind it around a certain way, and the thread gets pulled up. Some other parts of the machine that all of them come with are a manual crank on the side. This moves the needle shank up and down. They also usually have control for speed. This is how fast the engine's moving and how fast the needle's going up and down, how fast the feed dogs are working. You'll see here there are also a few buttons here. This one reverses the stitch direction, so if it's going forward it'll do a little back stitch. On my old machine I have a switch for this as well. And I also have a dial here, or a button here that will increase the stitch length and the stitch width, or the amount of zigzag, because that's what it kind of does. And this lets me choose from the pre-programmed stitches in the machine. And this machine came with 60. There are some that come with like 300 pre-programmed stitches, and my older machine, which only has 6 or 7. Ah, but I'm lying. That was an illusion. It has more than 7. This was the beginning of programming stitches in machines, and it used these fun little gears to make the stitches happen. So if you wanted ducks on the water, you'd find the gear with ducks on the water. I like the ducks on the water stitch. It's fun. And that about does it for like the very basic anatomy of what a machine will have. How it loops threads and bobbins is going to be different for each machine. How it adjusts thread tension will be different between each machine. Those are things you'll want to ask about and learn when you're shopping for your first machine. And that does it for part 1 of my introduction to sewing machines. And the next part, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you're going to buy and how to evaluate the machine if it's the right fit for you. Until next time. Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more videos and check out when the next one is coming out. Thanks so much for your support.